Hey guys, welcome back to Hayes Tech. Today I'm going to be showing you how to bring an old NES back to life. I picked up 2 NESs along with a bunch of games, 3 controllers, and a power cable for $10 at a garage sale. And I'll have an upcoming video talking about why I love garage sales so much and why I think every DIYer should be going. Now, these NESs that I purchased both suffer from what I call the flashing red light. It's a little bit like the Xbox's infamous red ring of death, but the difference is this is totally fixable by anyone, and all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver. The bulk of this repair is totally doable with just a simple Phillips head screwdriver. Nothing fancy. Now, I have an iFixit kit here, and I like to use that for some of the more intricate pieces, but for these posts here, I'm going to be using the Phillips head because it just gets into these spots better. If you haven't done it before, you might find these 3 screws are should it's fine, you should be in there anyway. Just go force it, and I'm not fixing it. Now, you may think most of the these screws should be removed. Absolutely not. They only sold for this much of it that was on the package. So we're going to go ahead and see about that. There also are any screws in here. Unlike with most consoles today, most devices today. So, once you think you have the screw removed, go ahead and try and lift it up, and it should just come right out. There aren't any clips or anything difficult to get at. And likely your screws haven't fallen out, so be careful not to just flip this thing over like a madman, because you don't want to lose these screws. So again, this is another thing I like the iFixit kit for. You got a parts bin. So I'm going to be switching over to my iFixit kit, and this is the roundest Phillips head bit that I can find in the iFixit kit. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws that hold this plate on. This is not fancy. So there are 3 on this side, and then I see these screws. Just go crazy and put on this side. Yeah, I keep surprised, so then I'm happy with our scope. So this is where this is on the outside, this is where this goes, this shield. The other exactly the same. And the last one, the shield. And that just comes right out, no problems. Now this is your drive caddy. This is your game caddy. I don't have a game here right now, but it slides in here and connects into this connector. Now, for the repair that we're doing today, this is your problem piece. This is the 72-pin connector, and it can often go bad in these NES systems. So this is an $8 part. I have one right here. Super easy to pick up on Amazon. Absolutely a no-brainer fix. So again, starting out with this stick here, it has 2 types of screws. So it's got the exact same screws that we do in this car, and we do in this car. And then it's got some slightly longer ones. Let me just try this. These screws are slightly different, as you can probably see. It's not going to be in the wrong place, but the long ones are on the frontmost side of this back section. So again, another long one. And then there are 2 final screws that you're going to need to take out. And that's down by the power supply here. So again, exactly the same types of screws we've been using throughout this entire process. Don't worry if you drop a screw, because the next step is to actually remove the motherboard. Now, if you're allergic to dust, you should know that the inside of these systems are going to be dusty. They're very dusty, just because they've been sitting around for a long time. So keep that in mind when you're doing these repairs. So now we can slide our pop-up mechanism for our drive, our game, and then this is the easy part. This is the best part, in my opinion, and that is removing the connector. It's right there. That is your broken connector. So take that off, replace it with your new one, and again, it just slots on. It sounds bad when it slots in, but it's totally fine. And now Now it's just a matter of getting the screws back in the opposite order. So getting everything back together. So again, going to take our little drive sled here, tilt up the circuit board because there's a bit of a clip underneath, and make sure that that goes around your motherboard here. And it should just slide right into place. A couple things you want to watch for when you're putting it back together. These little plastic posts go right through these little tiny holes. They help align everything so that everything's where it should be. If these aren't aligned, you're going to have a bad time trying to screw everything back in. So, and now we work backwards. Alright, so now we're actually done with the internals of the NES, but if you have another issue, like I have with a broken door, then that takes a couple more steps. I also have a little crack here on this bit of plastic, but fortunately these two pieces completely mirrored, so we can swap them around and you shouldn't notice any difference. So I'm going to switch from my Phillips head to a smaller flathead screwdriver. And that's for these little bits here. So I'm going to remove these 5 screws, 3 over here and 2 up here, and that will let us get at the door to replace it. This is actually a pretty clever mechanism that Nintendo devised to hold the door in while still keeping it relatively secure. The door is not going to come flying out, but it makes it super easy to get it back in, or to replace. So if I wasn't replacing the black piece, I could stop right there at those 3 and have no issues. But you can see it just falls right out. Now this is pretty broken, so I took the liberty of searching Thingiverse, and I found a 3D printed model, or 3D printable model of the original door. Now, this is a little brittle, just because of the nature of the plastic. So I am probably at some point going to be replacing these parts with official reproduction ones, which you can purchase on Amazon. But for the purposes of this video, 3D printing works just fine. So if you're replacing the door, you want to remove this little metal bracket as well. You've already removed one on the other side, but there's a little metal bracket right there that actually tensions down these things, and it'll prevent you from putting in the door. So you just want to remove that really quickly, or even just lift it up a little bit so that it's loose. And now it just slides right in. So again, we can grab, not this one because it's bent, we can grab our plastic piece, slide it right on, flip it over, and while we already have it flipped over, slide in the other plastic piece on the other side, and screw this stuff back in. So, this is pretty simple. These they're pretty simple, and it should take no more than minutes. And slides are super simple. It has a screws, so you can make them and this is where I started to use timing screws, which are a little bit more difficult to handle. That is why I kind of fixed it. These timing screws are certain screws for basically making sure that consumers don't have their own price. Usually, companies do this to keep safety together, and screws are pretty device. But if you're taking stuff, you can find it. So, again, I don't use screws now. I'm going to make fish, but recently, our NES. So, that's through. Alright. So now, we have a new door. And it even kind of springs up like the original door did. It's not perfect, but it's certainly a good alternative. So now, all we have to do is flip this over. You can put away any iFixit kit tools we're using because, again, the iFixit screwdriver won't get into these deeper wells. And we can just start screwing back together the NES. There you go. You should have a totally working NES system now. As you saw with our simple modifications, our NES is working flawlessly now. Unfortunately, there are some limitations. Many modern TVs are getting rid of their composite inputs. That's the yellow, white, and red input on your TV. If your TV doesn't have those, the NES simply will not be able to communicate with the TV. That said, if you do have an old NES system and a compatible TV, I highly recommend this project. It's really easy and it breathes life into a dead product. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. If you have any ideas for what you want me to do next, leave them in a comment below. I will be reading through all of them.